Hi everyone, Liz from Tutor2 here. Welcome to our BTEC National Health and Social Care exam warm-up for Unit 1, Human Lifespan Development, joined by Lynn. Hi Lynn, how are you doing?
Hi everyone.
So I see lots of people saying in the comments that they're worried about the exam tomorrow. Let's have lots of positive thinking for the next sort of 30, 40 minutes, guys. We will get through as much as we can and boost your confidence, okay? So let's remind ourselves about the command words on the paper first of all. Lynn, if you want to talk us through those, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you open your paper tomorrow, the paper should follow a similar format to what you've seen. And this is what the command words are that you hopefully will see. So identify and state questions. That's the word that the 1 or 2 mark questions will start with. Okay, you just need to be really brief with those kind of questions. Then you've got your outline and describe questions. They're for 2 or 4 marks. So you need to make a point and expand on it, often give examples. That can really help. You've got your explain questions, which are 2 or 4 marks. Again, you have to make a point and explain it. Then you've got your discuss questions. You might just have a couple of those. They are 6 marks. And then the ones that I can see you're all talking about in the chat are those 10 mark questions. They will start with the command word to what extent, or evaluate, or assess, okay? And there are 5 10 mark questions that normally appear across the paper. So we need to get you ready for those.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. So Lynn has talked briefly about this, but I'm just going to go over exam technique just really quickly before we get into the revision. So for your outline, describe and explain questions, as Lynn said, make sure you state a point and then add a development sentence. And those marks come in pairs. So you need to think, what is my point? How can I fulfill my description? So give an example. How can I explain, which means how, what, when, or why something happens. For outline, it's about giving sufficient details or factors or features. For your discuss questions, try and give as much balance as you can. So consider different aspects or alternatives around that topic. Link your points to theories and models if you can in those 6 markers, but definitely link to the context of the question and any case study information that you're given. And then for your to what extent evaluate and assess questions, show a really nice clear chain of reasoning, which is about cause and effect, and make sure you're drawing conclusions. You can either do that at the end with a closing statement, or you can do it as you go, but remember to answer the question. So to what extent you need to make a judgment on the extent to which something is true or not true, or something happens or doesn't happen. Okay, same with evaluate, you're making a judgment call. And with assess, you kind of need to look at as many different perspectives as you can, and do link those 10 markers to the theories and models as much as you can. We're going to look at those briefly tonight. We're not going to go too crazy on it. We don't want to stress anyone out the night before. We're just going to go through everything, give you like a light dusting, make you feel really confident before you go and chill out tonight and get an early night, okay?
Yeah,
so
definitely early night. Super important.
Yeah. So the way we're going to do the stream tonight is we're going to go through in life stage order. So we're going to start with some activities on infancy and early childhood. And Lynn, I'm going to hand over to you for this first one.
Okay, so in the chat, we want you to give us 4 stages of Piaget's theory of cognitive development. So think about what you know about Piaget, those different stages that children go through as they get older. Can you name them in the chat for us? You've got 30 seconds. Take it away. Or if you just know 1 or 2, just pop down the stages that you do know, okay? So go for it. 30
I would say
seconds.
bonus if you get them in the right order as well.
Yes, super important. Yeah.
Okay, so I can see some people are answering already, aren't they, Lynn?
Yeah, and definitely, I think getting them in the right order is a big challenge as well. So, Samaya, think about, have you got them in the right order? Oh, quite a few coming in now.
Oh, we've got some ages there. Nice.
Well done, Eva. So, give you 5 more seconds. Very good. So quite a few people seem to be doing their revision. Few people getting formal and concrete the wrong way round. Mm-hmm. So Liz, maybe if we reveal the answers here on the screen and you can see the orders that they come in. But big shout out to Eva who put the ages in their answer. So that's brilliant. So we've got sensory motor, which is 0 to 2 years. Then it's called the pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years. And then we go to concrete operational 7 to 11 years and formal operation 11 years plus. And Liz, I think you've got quite a useful mnemonic to help remember the stages.
And Nia has also got one very similar to mine. So Nia said, smart people can fly. I use some people can fly. So some for sensory motor, people is pre-operational, can, concrete operational, fly, formal operational, sorry. So remember, some people can fly or smart people can fly if you need to get these in the correct order, guys. But well done. Excellent. Brilliant. Start. Okay, next one. So thinking in a bit more detail about Piaget, we're going to give you 60 seconds this time. We've got some key principles that relate to Piaget's theory of cognitive development and some explanations on the screen, but they're going to be mixed up. Your job is to match them. So if I show you them mixed up, so we've got A, B, C, D and E on the left-hand side, and then we've got the explanations on the right-hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you need to match the letters with the numbers. So we'll give you 60 seconds because there's quite a lot of reading to do here. You can do it one at a time or you can wait until you've got them all right. We do not mind. So 60 seconds for this one. So keep your eye on the clock at the top there.
Go for it.
I can see that Ade and Samia have given us some correct answers already. Well done.
Brilliant. Yeah, really good. Grace is straight in, having a go at all of them. So Grace, I'm going to check whether you're accurate.
I'm trying to check as they come in.
Yeah,
you guys are really quick.
Okay. Really good. Toby's had a good go.
Okay, I think for clarity,
Yes.
I'll reveal the correct answers, Lynn.
Yes.
I'll talk them through and we can add any extras that we want to add. So the correct answers are on the screen now. So A5, so object permanence, that's recognising that objects still exist even when out of sight. So this is a skill that develops in infants around about 8 months. Some do it a little bit later, some a bit earlier, but definitely in that sensory motor stage, object permanence develops. Schemas, so B3. Schemas are a pattern of learning. They link perceptions, ideas, and actions to make sense of the world. So you can think of a schema as kind of like a mental model, like a framework that children have in their brains that they kind of construct as they experience things, as they learn new things, but they can change those, which links to something later on. So then we've got C, egocentrism, which is being unable to see situations from the perspective of others. So young children have egocentrism. They find it difficult to see other people's perspectives. When they get to around 7 years plus, they start to develop that ability to see things from another person's point of view. Then we have conservation, D2. So conservation is about thinking logically to determine that a particular quantity will remain the same even if there's a change in shape or size. Lynn, remind me, what kind of age are we looking at conservation developing?
Yeah, so between about a 7 to 11, you're going to be
Okay, yep.
thinking about whether they've got the ability to conserve. Yeah.
So when they're developing their logical, concrete thinking, problem solving. And then we've got E4, so equilibrium, disequilibrium. So this is about how children can adapt their schemas when they learn new information. So when they're in equilibrium, it means their experience of the world is matching their former learning and the schema they have in their head. When there's disequilibrium, that's when they come across something new, something challenging, something they don't understand, and then they change their schema to fit that new knowledge. Okay. How are we doing,
job.
everyone in the chat? Are we all happy with these? I see
Yeah,
various people saying, some people saying they think they know more, some people saying they think they know less. Don't worry, guys. Absolutely, you'll be fine. Trust me.
Yes. Stick with us this evening. Keep going. We're going to go through all the life stages, so stay with us.
Exactly.
So
Charlie's saying she ate it up. Well done, Charlie. So
brilliant.
over to you for this one, Lynn.
Okay, so hopefully this one will be quite nice and accessible. We're thinking about development. So we want you to shake some such as seasoning to the end of this sentence. So you're giving us some examples essentially. So we've got Jen will show she has developed her gross motor skills in early childhood through activities such as. So we need you to give us some examples of activities that children might do in early childhood that develop their gross motor skills. Okay, let's see what we can have in the chat.
AD or Ade is saying riding a bike. Nia skipping. Toby said obstacle course. Neve walking, jumping, kicking a ball. Fiorella walking. I would say, Fiorella, just think about early childhood and the age. So walking, I would say, is a gross motor skill that is developed in infancy. So think about the more advanced ones when we're talking about early childhood. So
hopping, skipping.
Running, jumping, hopscotch we've got.
That's good. Jumping on one foot for 1 minute. That's very specific.
That is
yes,
very specific.
Good.
I like that. Brilliant. So you guys are all over this topic. Remember that, you know, we can't know everything in the same detail, okay? So that you will have areas of strength and areas that you find more challenging, and that is absolutely okay and normal. So don't panic. You will have, you know, tonight there'll be some things you think, yes, I know that all over. Other things maybe not so much, but that's okay. Should we reveal our answer, Lim?
Yes, let's see. We've got some nice examples. So remember, gross motor skills, they're the large muscles, okay? So that are needed for things like hopping on one foot, riding a tricycle or bicycle, and running forwards and backwards, okay? We've got one more of these, which is quite similar. So we want you to shake some such as seasoning to the end of this statement. So Lohan will show he has developed his fine motor skills in early childhood through activities such as. So think about the life stage, early childhood. What kind of fine motor skills might children be able to do at this point? So give us some such as examples.
We've got some great ones. We're all going to fly in a moment, Lynn. We've got picking
Okay.
up a
Oh,
fork,
yes.
doing up buttons, turning the page, writing your name, tying shoelaces, holding.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, someone said holding a rattle. Remember, we're talking about early childhood now, not
Yeah.
infancy. Joined
Yeah,
up
and like building
handwriting.
blocks is often infancy as well. So try and really think about those more tricky things like doing buttons up, using scissors, tying shoelaces. That's particularly an early childhood activity,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I like that one.
Let's see.
Colouring in the lines. Not
Yeah,
sure I can do
nice.
that.
No. And
Okay,
using
let's
knife and
reveal
fork.
our answers then.
Yeah. So let's have a little look. We've got turning the pages of a book, buttoning, clothing, writing their own name. So yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
So remember, fine motor skills there. Using the small muscles in the fingers to help you to be able to do those kind of things.
Okay, we're now going to think about how language develops in infancy, and we're going to show you quite a lot of text on the screen with some gaps. We're going to go through it one kind of sentence at a time, so don't get overwhelmed when you see it. So the first sentence only says, Chomsky argued that children are born with the capacity to develop and learn any language, and that language development is blank. What would we call that one?
So yeah, what's behind the blank, do you think?
Okay, we've got Elizabeth and Toby, sorry, not Tony, saying innate, and also everyone else is saying innate now. Brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah, well, another word for innate.
Any other words?
So that's
Yeah,
not where
similar
my
ones.
head went, but there is another word that you could also relate. If something is innate, you might be doing it in a certain type of way.
We've got pre-programmed, biological, genetic, integrated, instinctive. Very good.
Yes, well
I
done.
think that's what we've got, isn't it? Instinctive.
Yes, that's what we've got. So, Jackson, well done. Yeah, really good.
But the rest of the answers were very good answers as well.
Very plausible. Innate is a really good answer.
Yeah, born with, I like that, Sharon. Yeah, predisposed, Fionn. Yeah, you could have that. Okay, he said children have a blank in their brain that helps them get going as language learners. That's quite a large blank, so it might be more than one word there. Okay, people are saying language acquisition device, Lynn.
Oh, well done. I feel like there's been some good revision on Chomsky.
Yeah.
People are straight in with
absolutely correct. There you
the
go.
LAD.
Oh, we've got learning acquisition device. That should be language acquisition device.
It should, yes.
We've got an error, guys. You see?
Yes.
Even teachers make errors.
Spotted it for us. Yeah.
Okay, so he argued that children are born within an innate biological grammatical categories called something, which enables them to combine the categories they learn, for example, nouns and verbs, into phrases. So what is that one?
What are those grammatical categories called?
They're not schemas. Yes, Chloe, well done. Universal grammar. Yep.
Well done. Yeah, really good.
So
that was a bit more of a tricky one, that one.
That is a tricky one, yep.
Yeah.
So it goes on to say children often make grammatical errors that they would not have done from copying adults. So this shows they are using their LAD to get to grips with language. However, there's a lack of evidence to support this theory, and Chomsky could not identify where in the blank the lad was located. So where did he think it was but couldn't tell us exactly where? Yes, yeah. Well done, Poppy and Escher. Yeah. The brain. Yeah. Really good. It would therefore be more useful to look at theorists such as Bandura, who argued that children learn through something influences by imitating role models such as their parents. They learn language through observation, mimicry, and reinforcement from adults.
So Sam has said social, which is very plausible.
Yeah, nice.
Through social influences. Poppy's come in, brilliant, and Caitlin, environmental. Yeah, environmental influences. Very good.
There you go, guys. I will correct our typo on there before I upload this to the website later on. Guys, you can download the PowerPoint later this evening if you want to go through any of these before tomorrow. Okay, let's move on then from Chomsky. Oh, no, we're not. We're still on Chomsky. Okay. For this one, we're looking for this or that. So is this nature or nurture? So Chomsky's model of language acquisition, nature or nurture?
Yeah, Grace, straight in saying nature. Does everybody agree with Grace?
Yeah, they
Let's
do.
see what you're all thinking.
Yep. Brilliant.
They
Well done.
do. Yeah, so nature, very much innate. If something's nature, it's sort of within us, born with it. Yeah, innate. So well done.
Okay, next one. Gessel's maturation theory. So Gessel said that you have to be biologically mature before you can achieve certain cognitive milestones. So does that sound like a nature or a nurture theory to you guys? Yeah, I think
a bit conflicting. Hang on, see if a few will come in.
So Gessel said that we all go through a set sequence of development, and you have to be biologically mature before you can attain certain milestones, before you can do certain things. So that is a nature argument. Okay, and then Bandura's social learning theory. Is that nature or is that nurture? What do we think?
So if you're learning by your environment or other people around you, by socializing, are we all coming in? Nurture is looking to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some debate in the chat, Lynn, about how you pronounce Gessel. It's a German name, so I go with the German pronunciation. But the good thing is we don't have to pronounce any words in our exam because we're just writing it down.
You can actually say it however you want.
Let's not even worry about it.
No, exactly.
Call the guy whatever you like.
Bandura is my guy. I love him. Yeah, we like Bandura's ideas. We think they're good. Yeah, learning about your environment. So just remember to talk about him in your.
I think Bandura is one that's easier to understand. It seems to resonate with our experiences, doesn't it? Okay, let's have a look at the next one then. Right, we're going to go into adolescence and early adulthood now, Lynn. So I will pass over to you for this first activity.
Okay, so we've got some more fun ones actually. We wanted to kind of make this evening a bit more lighthearted for you. So we're thinking about puberty, and we want you to think about the picture on the left with the question or clue on the right to create a word that smashes both of those together. So we've got, what is that picture sort of describing? And move with a sudden burst of speed. So what might the word be in relation to puberty? So what's the picture showing us?
I think Eva got it.
Another term. So, yeah. We've got, Charlie said increasing growth. So another way of saying that.
I'm sure that on the other screen, it was Eva that said growth spurt first, but everyone's saying it now.
Well done, Eva. And lots of people coming in. So well,
someone's saying bad things about sociology. Grace, Lynn's a sociology teacher. Shh.
Yeah. Keep quiet. We love sociology as well as health and social care.
Growth spurt. Well done. Okay, let's have some more of these because these are fun.
Yeah. So hopefully you've got what you have to do. So we're still on puberty. So what do you think the picture is showing? And then the process of increasing in size. So linked to puberty. What do you think the picture might be showing?
Eva again, straight in saying muscle growth, quickly followed by Ade, and Fritz said muscle mass. I like that. You could have increased muscle mass, definitely.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Definitely. So muscle growth during puberty.
Well, let's have another one.
Still on puberty. What about this one? So picture going on there, something's happening, and then fly high on these in the park. So what might that be showing during puberty? A sign of puberty.
The night before exams as well, I would say.
Well done, Eva. And Naya, mood swings. Well done.
But well done to Charlie for saying hormone fluctuations. That's why we have mood swings. Brilliant.
Yeah, that is a good
people saying, I feel like these pictures right now. Yeah. We get it, guys.
Yeah, mood swing. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, how about this one?
Okay.
The clue is secondary sexual characteristics.
And to increase the breadth, extent, or scope of something, making it broader or more expansive. So what do you think that might be? Remember, it's a secondary sexual characteristic.
Well done, Eva, Jackson, Grace.
Well done.
And
Toby,
everyone.
hips widen. Yeah, and now everyone.
Hips widen.
Yeah, hips widen.
So that's a female secondary sexual characteristic.
Characteristic, yeah.
What about this
And
one? Also secondary sexual characteristic. What's the picture? What does the definition describe? Fritz was straight in there. Shoulders broaden. And Toby, brilliant.
Well done. Yeah, that's really good. And somebody said about hips wide and ready for childbirth. So that's good. Good linkages there.
Remember, the secondary sexual characteristics, they develop in puberty because of the influence of the hormones, estrogen mainly in females and mainly testosterone in males. This is what is causing these changes. Okay, another one.
So to increase in intensity, extent or complexity, making something more profound or significant. What do you think it might be?
Elizabeth says deeper voice. Well done, Elizabeth. Great name as well.
Deep voice, deeper voice, voice deepens. Yeah.
Fabulous.
So I think we've got voice deepens, haven't we? Yeah. Well done. So spot on there, Toby.
Yeah.
Well done.
That does actually happen in males and females. And Jackson is saying because of a larger larynx. Yeah. So your larynx grows, which makes your voice deeper. We just notice it a lot more in males than in females. Okay. I think this is the last one of these fun picture rounds.
So secondary sexual, the front part of the head, and something is happening in the picture.
That picture's quite cute. Liv says
So-
facial hair. Poppy says hair
Yeah.
growth. Charlie said pubic hair growth. Hopefully not on the front part of her head.
No. So yeah, Liv's right with facial hair, isn't she? And Becca, well done.
Awesome. Well done, everybody.
Really good. Yeah.
I mean,
So obviously
yeah.
for males, but yeah. Facial
Fabulous.
hair, well done.
Okay, back to a 30-second activity. So this time we want you to give us 3 examples of environmental factors that could affect human growth and development in early adulthood. So don't forget early adulthood, guys. Environmental factors. You can be as specific as you like. I'm just looking at Charlie saying it still works. I agree. It's still hair that grows in puberty, so you probably can call it pubic hair, even if it is growing on your face. So back to this. Let's give you the 30
Think about your
seconds.
factors. Yeah. So you hopefully have been revising all the different factor categories. And what do you know about environmental factors? Think about that category.
So those of you that have given us answers, maybe tell us something specific. Like we've got lots of people saying pollution, location.
Yeah.
So what about it?
So
Poor
make
housing.
sure they're environmental, not necessarily just like social or a bit different. So think about environmental factors. Okay, we've got some nice ones here. Damp, mold, pollution, poor housing, not any nearby health services. So that's
Nice.
really good, really good. Damp, poor housing such as damp could cause respiratory problems or asthma, affect future health. So anything to do with, Charlie, geographical issues to do with accessing health services, being too far away.
Nice.
Caitlin, housing situation being mouldy. Very good. So, and Lemon Cat said poor housing conditions like mould or having no heating.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
living in poor housing conditions,
Yeah.
access to health and social care services, pollution.
Yeah,
air
pollution can
pollution.
affect your respiratory system, as a couple of people have pointed out. Yeah, noise pollution, so that could cause stress. AD's talking about hypothermia, so if you don't have enough heating, yeah. So Esha says fuel poverty. Yeah, so fuel poverty kind of brings together economic and environmental, doesn't it? So if you can't afford to heat your home will be cold, and therefore your home might be more at risk of becoming damp, or you could get hypothermia. So well done. Someone's saying, what's CHD? Coronary heart disease. Let's have a look at our answers then.
Yeah. So I think all the ones you got: exposure to pollution, so it could be noise, could be air, could be light pollution, housing conditions. So absolutely, you've talked about heating, the quality of the home, the area in which the home is, and then access to services. That could be geographical challenges, transport challenges to be able to get to health and social care housing. Also, shout out to Eva, who said living in a crowded home and not having access to hygiene facilities, lowering self-esteem. So
Nice,
yeah,
yep.
really good.
Very good. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got next. A case study. So Helen is 47 years old and has made an appointment with her GP because she thinks she is experiencing the symptoms of perimenopause. To what extent could perimenopause affect Helen's health and well-being? So we're going to show you 2 answers to this question, and we would like you to decide which one is the best one, okay? So let's have a look.
And why? And tell us why.
Yep.
Yes.
So which one is the best one and why? Poppy, hold that question for the end. Let's have a look at our answers. So I'll read student A, and Lynn, you can read student B. Why don't we do that? So,
Yeah, cool.
Student A says perimenopause is associated with many symptoms such as irregular periods, mood swings, low libido, hot flushes, and brain fog. These symptoms can be physically uncomfortable but also affect Helen emotionally, as she may feel more anxious, and socially, as it may affect her relationships and ability to work to the best of her ability. Perimenopause affects women differently, with some having severe symptoms and other very mild ones. On the other hand, ... and in conclusion. So Lynn, what's student B saying?
Okay, student B saying perimenopause could affect Helen's health and well-being considerably. There are several symptoms associated with the perimenopause that could affect Helen's health and well-being. After the perimenopause, there is the menopause, which is when a woman stops having periods. This is when she can no longer reproduce and have children. So what do you think's best? Liz's A or mine B?
Okay.
So Fritz says due to... Oh, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Fritz says A, due to the fact that B doesn't give that much of an answer, repeats the question before actually getting to the point, whereas A gave more than 1 point. Yep. Charlie's saying B says periods stop. They don't stop until menopause. The question is on perimenopause and its effects. Yeah, that's a good point, Charlie. Focus on what the question is actually asking you. Although it's relevant, it's not, you don't have the time to go off on a tangent.
And Liv says that B doesn't explain the specific symptoms. It just says that there are some. So there's no examples, is there? There's no full explanation.
Yep.
So
a couple of people are saying that student A is going to go on to make a conclusion. Yeah. So the question is to what extent. So you need to make a judgment about that. You really need to make sure that by the end you have decided the extent to which it could affect her health and well-being. So make a statement about how far it's going to affect her.
Yeah, and Grace says, guys, is the average age 45 or 55? So remember, we're talking about perimenopause, which actually for some women can start in your 30s, actually. But I think most women around 45, perimenopause starts to, maybe really take hold. But it's not till a little bit later, Liz. Would you agree that most women would then enter into the menopause more around 50, 52, but can vary?
So, yeah, it definitely can vary. I think, perimenopause can be around 10 years. And I think the average age for menopause is early 50s. So we're talking about, let's say, 45 to 55. So just think about how it spans 2 life stages. How it spans the end of your middle adulthood life stage. Okay. Just trying to see what other questions. Addie's saying, are the symptoms for perimenopause and menopause the same? So the problem is that people in the media kind of talk about them as if they're the same thing. So menopause literally just means that your periods have stopped and a woman can no longer get pregnant. Perimenopause is the bit of time that leads up to that. So the symptoms are actually when the hormone levels are going up and down, up and down, up and down. And then the symptoms tend to level off with the menopause because the hormonal fluctuations have stopped and estrogen is low. But there are obviously things that happen when you have low estrogen. Well done for supporting each other in the chat. I can see questions about how long the exam is, how
Yeah,
many marks
and
you
people are
get.
helping each other.
Yeah,
That's really
brilliant.
good.
Well done, guys. Keep up the good work.
So we
Yeah.
thought that Liz's was the best, because we said that her paragraph shows good knowledge and understanding of the perimenopause using lots of examples. I love the examples. Got irregular periods, mood swings, low libido, hot flushes, brain fog, all of those things. So that's great. The question is addressed from different perspectives about how it's going to affect her emotionally, socially, physically, which is really good. And conclusions are drawn, or she's going to go on and do that. Whereas my paragraph, although it's not wrong, it does just repeat the wording of the question to kind of pretend that I know what I'm talking about, but I haven't quite done it quite right. And the student doesn't really answer the question specifically enough, and they drift into talking about the menopause rather than the perimenopause. And you absolutely identified that. So well done, everyone.
Yeah, well done. All those points were made by you guys in the chat, so that's excellent. Remember this, guys, if you have time to check your paper at the end, remember to use this critical lens to look at your own answers. We often find it easier to criticise other people's answers, but we need to get better at criticising our own answers, okay?
Yeah. And Liz, Addie just said, how would you conclude A? So the thing is, you've got to say, Addie, to what extent? So based on all the things that we've written, we would say actually it has quite it's quite a significant effect actually on Helen, because it is affecting all of her pies. So you could finish by saying, you've just argued that there's lots of effects. But then you could also say that actually different women experience perimenopause in different ways. So although this might be Helen's experience, it might not be everybody's.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So final life stages, middle and later adulthood. So 60-second challenge again. This time we want you to describe 2 ways that the ageing process could affect Tobias's growth and development. We don't know who Tobias is, but we can assume that they're someone that is ageing. So again, here are the mixed up versions. So A, B, C, D, and E are ways that he might experience the ageing process. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are explanations of those ways. I need you to match up the letters with the numbers, okay? We'll give you 60 seconds. See what you can do.
Yeah. So make a point, explain it, make a point, explain it. So where does the explanation link in? Okay, Addie's come in with 1, so that's great. Good start.
Samia's given us an answer as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Well done, Poppy and Liv. Having a go at
Fritz.
all of them in a oneer.
Yeah, that's good. You're working them one by one.
Don't
Eva
worry,
as well.
Charlie.
That's okay, Charlie. It'll all become clear when we reveal the answers and you can see how they link together.
Okay, so I will put the correct answers on so that we don't get confused. So you could say mobility and dexterity will decline due to the loss of muscle mass, strength, and bone density. Okay, so we're thinking about effects of aging and explaining why they happen, okay? So B, degeneration of sense organs through worsening eyesight and hearing and decline in taste. Sammy is asking, what is dexterity? Dexterity actually refers to like your ability to use your fine motor skills. So in later adulthood, the kind of things you struggle with is opening jars or opening cans or maybe doing up buttons. So using your fingers and small, yeah. Thank you, Charlie. Excellent. Brilliant description there from Charlie. So then C, degeneration of nervous tissue, which slows down thinking speed and reaction time. So remember, dementia is not a normal part of aging, but a certain amount of slowness in thinking speed and reaction time is to be expected. Then we've got D, self-concept may be affected by losing confidence, which links to 5, as skills and abilities may deteriorate and you may feel physically more vulnerable. And then we've got a positive one, a wider social circle due to retirement and more time to spend on social activities with friends. I think this is a good moment, Lynn, to say that we tend to focus on all the negative stuff in our answers in health and social care. But for our longer answers, so 6 and 10 mark questions, it really helps if you can think of some positives, because that gives the flip side, that gives a balanced argument. Okay.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yes, Sam is saying, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Well, she's addressed it to you, Lynn, so you read it out.
Yeah, okay. She said, Lynn, can you say aging leads to social roles changing, such as socialising grandchildren? Absolutely. So that's a really good one, actually. Role change is a huge thing when you go into aging. And that means
really
often
is.
you go into retirement, doesn't it? So you might then take on new roles. You might do more volunteering. You might go to social clubs more. And you might then also be looking after your grandchildren. So definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, well done, Sam. You're leveraging Lynn's sociology knowledge there. I'm not offended at all. So Charlie's saying, how do you differentiate between dementia and thinking slowing down? So the thing about dementia is, in the early stages, it can be difficult to determine whether it's normal aging or something a little bit more concerning. Generally, we say that someone has dementia when it's interfering with their ability to live their daily life. So, being a little bit forgetful is normal, thinking like, oh, where have I left my keys? But when it's interfering, so like, for example, maybe you go out and park your car, you go shopping and then you can't find your car, and then you get upset because you can't find your car. It's that kind of subtle but significant difference. So it's interfering with your ability to live your daily life. Yeah. You won't need to make that differentiation on your exam paper, Charlie, but it's good to know in terms of our, having family members around us and so on. Okay, let's see if we can... oh, hang on, before we move on, Poppy said, what's the definition on the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? So dementia is an umbrella term, so that means dementia is a term that sits up there, and then there are different conditions, diseases, disorders that fit underneath that umbrella. So Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. Vascular dementia is a type of dementia. Frontotemporal dementia is a type of dementia. Okay, let us move on. Lynn, over to you for this one.
Yeah, so we've got this or that. So actually, we've given you the answers. You've just got to decide which one it is. So if I read out the clue and then you decide. So the explanation that a disorder or a behaviour trait is the result of an interaction between genetic predisposition, vulnerability and stress, usually caused by life events and factors. Now, is that the stress diatheses model, or is it the Holmes-Ray social readjustment rating scale? That is such a mouthful, isn't it? Which one of those? These often get muddled up.
Yep.
So think about you've got, a genetic predisposition, but then it's sort of triggered by environmental factors.
Well,
and people
I would
are
say
coming in.
No one's mixed it up, Lynn.
No, I was going to say absolutely as well. So stress diathesis model, yes. So remember, it's a genetic predisposition and then linked with environmental factors, often caused by stress. It can trigger things. So it's often used as an explanation for things like schizophrenia, for example, or mental ill health. So well done.
Okay, this one.
What about this one? Used to measure 43 stressful life events, individuals use the scale to self-assess the level of stress they're under and to identify when that level becomes a risk. Is that linked to the stress diathesis model, or is that actually the Holmes-Ray social readjustment rating scale? So what do you think? Yes, it's the Holmes-Ray. Well done. So don't overthink this one. It's not too complicated. Essentially, there's 43 stressful life events that are listed, and then people can self-assess, which means that they can decide, well, they can see where they're at in terms of those life events, and then they can see whether the level of stress they're under, whether that's going to become a risk. It does also have some criticisms. People say that essentially maybe all those things on the list, then they don't actually affect everybody in the same way, or actually we should focus on more day-to-day stresses rather than big life events. But it is a model that people can use to assess whether life events are going to be risky for them and affect their mental health.
Yep. A few people are saying they're confused by it. I think you just need to think of it as it's a scale that suggests how much stress you might be under. So it might have usefulness for some people, but maybe not fully explain anything really.
Yeah.
Ellie says, how do we get access to the PowerPoint? Ellie, I will correct the typo in it, and then I'll upload it to the TutorDue website, and I'll pop the link in the chat, or the comments actually. I'll do it on the comments for this video. So come back and look about half an hour after we finish, and I will put it in the
Brilliant.
comments.
That's fab.
Okay. Shall I do this one?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Later adulthood is a time when individuals might shed their earlier social roles and activities and then are free to take on new roles, such as grandparent or retiree, and pursue new hobbies. And we're saying that's the theorist Havikhurst. Is that activity theory or is that social disengagement theory? I can see everyone is saying activity theory.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
so taking
absolutely.
on some nice new roles to keep them busy, which is really good. Staying active.
Okay, and then Grace, keep watching. This will help you with that. So, number 4, successful aging requires the voluntary withdrawal of older individuals from their former social roles. This is beneficial to society as the knowledge and skills of older adults has deteriorated, and it was Cumming and Henry that said that. Is that activity or social disengagement theory? Yep, it is the opposite, social disengagement. So we generally say that that doesn't really fit with our modern experience of aging and society, because yes, older adults, they do retire, but they take on new roles, and actually their knowledge and skills don't suddenly just go away. You know, our grandparents do things like childcare, they may volunteer, they may mentor other people. Also, it's culturally not appropriate to everyone, because in lots of societies, older people are considered to be extremely wise and extremely valuable and of benefit to society. Do we need to know the names of the researchers? Grace, if you can't remember them, don't worry. Focus on what, the meaty detail of the theory rather than who said it. Definitely, I think for social disengagement and activity theory particularly, it's much more important to know the two theories and what they mean, rather than the actual name of the person.
Theorist. Yeah.
Someone else asked a question that I thought was worth answering about highlighting. Can you highlight or underline the actual question as well as the case study? Yes, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. That can really help. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
And actually, people are saying some nice things. Sorry, just Charlie said retirement's an opportunity to do new things, e.g. charity work. I thought that was really nice. Yeah.
Okay, so our final thoughts are: get plenty of sleep tonight. Do look at our PowerPoint tonight if you want to, but I wouldn't be doing any more, don't do any cramming. Definitely get an early night tonight. Watch some TV or read a book, try and switch your brain off. Have some good food tonight and for your breakfast tomorrow. Drink plenty of water. If your teacher is running a prep session tomorrow, go to it. Adopt a positive mindset. You definitely have got this, and good luck from us. Honestly, I can't wish you enough luck. I get extra marks if I write with my TutorDue pen. Toby, you may do so. I don't know. It might be infused with magic. I said a little doo-doo-doo over them before we handed them out at cinemas. But yeah, well done everyone. Thank you for coming. Good luck. You're going to be amazing. Just think positive. Oh, Samia, that's really lovely. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Good luck for everybody.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks everyone. Great participation tonight.
Bye.
Go smash it.
Luck.
Bye.